Hello, my name is Jen David Lang and I run The Main Idea, a service for busy school leaders. Each month I send a summary of a key education book to school leaders throughout the country. So why am I doing a video for teachers? Well, I passionately believe that teachers, more than any other factor, have the most significant impact on student achievement. And if teachers have the potential to have such a dramatic impact on student achievement, then they should be learning themselves. And I also know, from having been a teacher myself, that you don't have time to waste on education books that aren't good or simply don't address your needs. So for this reason, I'm doing this video for you, the teachers, so I can introduce 5 really good professional books that you can choose from to read over the summer. I think of this as a book talk, the way really good librarians and teachers use to hook their students to read more. And while I can't tantalize you with murder mysteries or venting vampires, I can introduce 5 really good books to help you improve your teaching and to improve student learning. The first book is Active Literacy Across the Curriculum: Strategies for Reading, Writing, Speaking, and Listening by Heidi Hayes Jacobs. This book's main ideas are that every teacher needs to consider him or herself a literacy teacher. This means every teacher in every grade and every discipline must learn how to teach reading, writing, speaking, and listening, regardless of the class they teach. People often ask me for literacy books in content areas other than English because there's just a huge need for teachers to be able to teach literacy skills whatever class it is they teach. If you're a science teacher, you know a student who understands the material, but when she raises her hand, she can't give a clear spoken answer. If you're a math teacher, you know a student who struggles with word problems. Also, it's rare to see teachers actively teaching students how to speak and how to listen. Those are 2 neglected areas that this book addresses. It's also a short book. It's 135 pages. Each chapter is devoted to one literacy strategy that you can implement regardless of the subject you teach: vocabulary, note-taking, revising writing, speaking, listening. And while there are many books about literacy strategies, this book really emphasizes the importance of aligning and reinforcing the literacy strategies throughout your school. So if you're a teacher leader, this is a great opportunity not just to implement the book's ideas in your own class, but to share these ideas across a grade, a division, a house, or even better, the entire school. Imagine the power of all of your teachers teaching and reinforcing the same literacy strategies. The second book is The First Days of School: How to Be an Effective Teacher by Harry and Rosemary Wong. The 2 main ideas of this book are that to maximize learning, teachers need to learn to organize themselves and their classrooms for success. And successful teachers have 3 characteristics. 1, they hold high expectations of their students. 2, they have effective classroom management skills. And 3, they know how to teach for lesson mastery. This is a useful book because it provides one of the most detailed approaches to classroom management I've seen. In my opinion, the difference between teaching with and without effective classroom management is the difference between students learning and not learning at all. Classroom management, more than any other area, is the #1 topic that teachers ask for help with. And this book has sold over 3 million copies, which is unheard of for education books. Also, this book is not just for new teachers. There are plenty of practical ideas to help teachers set up their classes for success on the first days of school. And the Wongs believe so wholeheartedly in the first days of school that they write, "What you do on the first days of school will determine your success or failure for the rest of the school year. You will either win or lose your class on the first days of school." And I happen to agree. The book is about more than classroom management, and the Wongs do discuss the 3 areas of an effective teacher. But by far, the section on classroom management is what most teachers are seeking. The Wongs give great advice for how to deal with students who don't follow the rules, but the focus of the chapter is on preventing that behavior. They write, quote, "Effective teachers manage their classrooms, ineffective teachers discipline their classrooms." And the Wongs show you in detail how to manage your classroom. What you can say, the rules you can design, the procedures you can set up, and just about everything so you can start your year on the right foot. It's full of concrete ideas, and so if you've had a hard year, don't despair. There's a reason so many teachers have turned to this book. The third book is Accessible Mathematics: 10 Instructional Shifts That Raise Student Achievement by Stephen Lang-Wan. The main ideas of the book are that we're leaving far too many of our students behind by continuing to teach math the way we've always taught it. Instead, if we just make 10 key instructional shifts, we can provide the type of mathematics instruction that our students desperately need. As a former math teacher, I love this book. It's witty, it's conversational, it's not what you'd expect in a book about math instruction. But more importantly, His insights about what's missing in our math teaching are right on. Of course, we should be teaching more vocabulary in math. We should actively teach number sense. We need to make sure our students explain why and how they got the answer and much more. Now, these ideas are not rocket science and they're not particularly new, but implemented together will have a powerful effect on your math teaching. Another great thing about this book is that he includes examples of actual dialogue and questions that effective math teachers use to get their students to think. Instead of leaving a student's answer as 58.9, the effective math teacher asks, how did you get that? Is that to the left or right of 59 on the number line? What would be 10 more than that answer? What would be 1/10 less? Etc., etc. It's a very short book, under 100 pages, and it's applicable to all levels from elementary to high school math. Each chapter is devoted to one change you can and should make in your teaching, and overall, it's just a really enjoyable and worthwhile book for math teachers to read over the summer. The fourth book is Lost at School: Why Our Kids with Behavioral Challenges Are Falling Through the Cracks and How We Can Help Them by Ross Greene. If you can say that title 10 times fast, you get extra credit. Just kidding. The book's main ideas are that millions of kids are falling through the cracks and they have challenging behavior and we're just not helping them. Our current discipline system doesn't work. Instead of simply instituting harsh punishments, we need to teach kids the kinds of skills to help them improve their behavior. As teachers, we have all dealt with the kid who drives us crazy and disrupts class. For me, it was Owen. And if you're like most teachers, you're hungry for a solution. Dr. Greene provides a solution, which is backed by research. First, he states the obvious. Our current discipline system doesn't work for anyone. For kids who already behave, they would do so without a discipline system. For those who don't behave, they don't have the skills to know how to behave, and we need to teach them those kinds of skills. So simply punishing those kids even more simply won't work. Instead, Dr. Greene proposes a 3-step process that any teacher, counselor, or administrator can learn. These ideas work for kids of all ages from K to 12, and it's a pleasure to read. You can read it at the beach. Honestly, his real-life narratives make it a pleasure to read. He starts with the story of Joey, who's a 6th grader who blows up at his teacher, refuses to go to her desk, refuses to go to the office, and then storms out of the classroom. And his book is filled with real-life narratives that make this book very engaging. There are also other narratives that bring to life kids with social, emotional, and behavior problems, and he shows you the actual language that the adults use as they go through his 3-step process. Overall, this book shows you how to better understand your challenging students' behavior and also how to implement a 3-step process to deal with those students. The 5th and final book is Teaching Adolescent Writers by Kelly Gallagher. The 2 main ideas of this book are that our students' writing skills are terribly inadequate to prepare them for work and school in a global economy. And to help students develop a solid writing foundation, we need to implement 6 key writing practices school-wide. I enjoyed this book because this author is a talented writer. You would hope so. It's a book about writing. And so it was a pleasure to read. But more importantly, we're just not preparing our students for college or for the writing demands of the 21st century. According to a large national research study, over 2/3 of our 8th and 12th graders are just not even proficient in writing. And according to other studies, elementary school students spend less than 15% of their day writing. Gallagher proposes a model to build strong writers, which includes his 6 pillars of writing success. Individually, these writing practices aren't so new, but taken together, he can help teachers, and not just English teachers, get their students to enjoy writing, to write more, to be better prepared for mandated writing tests, and more. This book is good for all teachers, grades 4 to 12, and all teachers will come away with very practical strategies that they can use to improve writing in their classes. I never thought that I'd say that a book about teaching writing is a page-turner, but this one is really well written, and it is. So that's all, folks. If you have any feedback for me about this book talk, you can email me, or if you want to learn more about the main idea in my book summaries, you can go to www.themainidea.net. Happy reading and enjoy the summer.